Oh boy. A mess. So you guys know, in the last K-pop video that I did, I was basically outlining all the groups and such that I was interested in, the groups I said I didn't really care about anymore, and I was just getting back in tune with K-pop. And someone brought it to my knowledge that there was a scandal that happened with GFRIEND, and this is prevalent because GFRIEND was one of the groups that I have been reacting to and have been catching my interest the most this year. So I think it's important for me to say, before we even get into the video, listen to what I'm saying. Don't just get angry because you're a stan. Don't just agree with me because you hate GFRIEND. Actually listen to my opinion, think about what you already know about the situation, and use all that to form your biases or opinions or whatever. React to this video or like or dislike however you want, but just know, all it does is boost the engagement regardless. So, that being said, let's talk about what GFRIEND, more specifically SOWON, the leader of GFRIEND, did. Now, basically just, she was out with somebody, she took pictures with the N4ZI statue, and was like posing all cute next to it. Tone deaf. Now, I don't know if she's a Nazi sympathizer, I don't know if, she maybe knew the person or she was related to the guy, the statue. Regardless of whatever the situation is, when you're a public figure, there are just things that you cannot do anymore. And that includes standing, smiling, posing with a Nazi statue. I'm sorry. You can't do that. You just can't. Even I can't do that. And I'm just a small YouTuber. So, SOWON, Miss K-pop, SOWON, absolutely no, that's not acceptable. I made a list because I wanted to actually break down everything that's going on. I want to talk about the reaction with the media, and by media I mean CNN, BBC. These are national news networks. That the story was told on. The history with GFRIEND and their sort of tone deafness and ignorance to culture or benevolence to it or just disregard for it. Cancel culture itself and whether I think GFRIEND deserves to be canceled for this. The hashtag together with GFRIEND that stands trended on Twitter after the incident. And then at the very end, we'll get into my opinion and my future with K-pop, GFRIEND, and K-pop reactions. So now that we know what happened with SOWON and its reflection of the entire company and the group, let's talk about the fact that it wasn't just K-pop news, Unless it's Blackpink or BTS, K-pop news or things trending in K-pop don't usually touch the media. So for this to be on CNN and BBC, them actually talking about GFRIEND, yes, they're aligned with BTS because they're under the same company technically, but they're talking about GFRIEND. That's not a good thing. They're not praising them. They're not, talking about how talented they are as dancers, singers, how pretty they are even. The reason they're talking about GFRIEND is because one of their members was caught, not even caught, she was doing it in public, posing next to a Nazi. Now, if you don't know anything about K-pop, and this is the first thing you hear, GFRIEND or just K-pop in general, you're automatically going to be like, it's just not a good look for GFRIEND or K-pop. Posing next to a statue of a Nazi. That's not a good look. And again, I said for it to be on CNN and BBC, that makes you know this isn't just like petty drama, this isn't just like a scandal. This is a big deal. It went from just like K-pop banter and antis and fandoms to being on national news. Now, I don't know if their company or Cube, I don't even know who they're under, whatever. I don't know if their company made an announcement or condemned someone's actions or, spoke up against this. But for it to be on national news, you have to do something. You have to say something. And hashtagging together with GFRIEND saying you stand with them for this action is not good. Next, I want to talk about the history of GFRIEND and just their tone deafness when it comes to culture. And this isn't even just like specifically about GFRIEND, this is just K-pop in general. K-pop idols, K-pop groups, K-pop companies. I feel like we've been preaching for years now about culture appropriation, culture just ignorance, and them being ignorant. We always use that excuse. And it's just like, how much can these people actually just not know? It's common sense, I feel like. Not even just if you're a famous person, but it's common sense that you don't engage with a person that represents hate, a person that represents fascism. I'm not going to go over here and stand next to a Confederate soldier and smile and pose with him. It's just not something I would do as a regular person or on this platform that I built for myself. And again, especially as a K-pop idol. You're paid millions because people love you. You basically represent Korea, and you're out here doing those kind of things and taking pictures of it, posting it. It's just like common sense. You don't do that stuff. And again, this isn't the first time GFriend has messed up, in my opinion. On Weekly Idol, they were doing some like bit about Jamaicans, and like the whole point of the segment was like they were trying to be the most Jamaican. And I believe it was Cindy who said, well, I win the competition regardless because I'm tan. So she was saying because she wasn't even tan. She had like a darker complexion than the very pale white skin that is loved in Korea. So because of that, she was saying that she is Jamaican. And I was just, not that that is like offensive, I just found that to be very ignorant, very stupid, a very dumb thing to say. So ever since then, I've been on the fence with GFriend, and it kind of reminds me of the same thing with Red Velvet, where Wendy was like doing her impressions of black girls. Even though she grew up in Canada, she knows what black people are actually like. But of course, when she gets on Weekly Idol in Korea, she wants to do the whole stereotypical, girl, I got a fat ass, you know, making it seem like that's all black women are, and perpetrating that stereotype that is already in Korean culture. So it's just like, at this point, I don't have any more excuses for K-pop idols, their companies, or anything. I believe most of them know what they're doing, and they just don't care. As long as the checks are still rolling in, as long as we're still streaming their music videos, listening to their music, as long as they're still getting paid and can wear Givenchy and Gucci, that's all they care about. Now, let's talk about cancel culture. My biggest issue with cancel culture, now, I do believe this is cancel worthy, but the issue with cancel culture is it doesn't give idols the room to grow. Whenever you get canceled for something, you're automatically just, that's the end. You can't come back from it. You can't show that you've grown from it. And there are certain instances that don't deserve that luxury, but I feel like that doesn't apply to every single person who gets canceled. I feel like cancel culture should be sort of more like rehabilitation. Like you should have the person acknowledge what they do, show that they understand what they did was wrong, and then their future acts should reflect that they've grown from that point, what made them canceled. But with cancel culture, it doesn't give people the opportunity to grow. Once you're canceled, you're canceled. You can't come back from that. And that's my biggest issue with that. Now, do I believe that they deserve to be canceled? I think what SOWON does or did is definitely a bad reflection of the company and the group. I think her actions are going to, again, reflect everyone in the group, not just herself. And do I think she deserves to be canceled for it? No, but am I going to support GFriend? Probably not. So that, well, I'm not going to get into my opinion yet because I want to talk about the Together with GFriend hashtag. This is my biggest issue with K-pop, and a big reason why I'm assuming most of you have noticed I've taken a major step back on Twitter, on Instagram, even on my channel reacting to K-pop. It's just because K-pop went from being a place where you could find community and like happiness to just toxicity and immaturity. Most of the people, even on my own channel, that I engage with whenever it comes to K-pop are just people who just can't accept someone else's opinion. You have to believe or think the way they do about a certain idol, otherwise they're going to dislike your video, which is my case. You can't just be honest about K-pop. It's one way or you're canceled. And I just think that's really wrong, because the whole reason I got into K-pop was because, well, Rihanna stopped making music, so I was like, okay, who do I stan? What do I do? So I found K-pop. And I found, with K-pop, I found a community of people, the stans, who were just messy. And you guys can say, oh, that only applies to certain groups, the groups that you're naming, the groups that you like. No, it's in every single fandom. Regardless of who you stan, there's going to be a bunch of toxic people that you're going to have to deal with. And it's not fair to say those aren't true, you know, whatever you want to say, Agassi, Blinks, they're not true, armies, whatever. They are, though. They're all a part of your fandom. The toxic members are a part of your fandom. You cannot claim them, but they're still there. So if I want to stan a certain group, I'm always going to be engaging with toxic people in my comments, dislikes, people tweeting at me nonsense, trying to hack my accounts. All that just made me associate that behavior with K-pop because there was no escaping it. Once you get into K-pop, that's like something you also have to deal with regardless. So it was like, okay, why do I subject myself to this nonsense? And on top of that, these idols aren't even people who I should be idolizing. They don't care about me. They like everything about my features and my culture, but they don't actually care about me. It's like I was a fetish to them. at some point for certain idols. So I was like, okay, let me take a step back, actually think about who and what I want to listen to, who I want to engage with, and that's who I will bring to the channel. And it kind of just went deeper and deeper with that. I stopped using Twitter because I stopped wanting to get involved in like fandom wars and seeing all the nonsense trending and stuff. And then I decided to get back on after I heard the news of SOWON, and that's when I saw Together with GFRIEND. And this is just what I mean about the fans blindly following an idol. You know, 5-year-olds are very impressionable. Now when you add K-pop into that and standing, it's just a recipe for disaster. So after SOWON, the leader of GFRIEND is posing next to a Nazi. The first thing K-pop fans want to do is say that we stand by her actions, we support them, this, that, this, that. How ridiculous is that? No, I don't. We're not together with that action. That is not okay. And for you just to excuse that behavior just because you're a fan, you think you know this person in this group, that's just delusional, and that's not something that I stand by. So, my opinion, I think what SOWON did is what's the word? Not repairable. It's bad. What she did is bad. I don't think it's okay. I don't think it's excusable. I do think she knew what she was doing, who she was posing by. You know, she's not clueless. She's the freaking leader. Why? Yeah, no, you can't. How many times are we gonna let them pull the ignorant card? They don't know. I even did this with Mamamoo. Every single time there was a scandal going on, it was just, well, they're from Korea, they don't know. How conservative and, you know, out of touch are Koreans for every time they do something rude, ignorant, you know, whatever, for us to say, oh, they didn't know any better. These are grown people. These are grown adults. You know, even if you don't grow up knowing about the rest of the world, you're an adult, you've experienced other cultures, you travel around the world, you learn different languages. At some point, it's just, if you know how to hate on other cultures, you know how to respect other cultures. And that is something that they just refuse to do because they don't have to. Again, they're getting checks, they're getting paid, they're driving around in Mercedes. They don't feel the obligation to respect their fans, their cultures of the world, or anything like that. So, that being said, am I probably going to react to any more GFRIEND in the future until I see that they have actually changed or are sorry for what the heck they did? And I say they because, again, SOWON is the leader of GFRIEND. Her actions reflect the most out of all the members onto the group. Am I going to support them? Not until I find that they have made reprimand. Until they apologize, bitch. You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, GFRIEND, a mess. I'm sorry. Why did you do that, SOWON? You could have, even if you wanted to take that picture, how did it get leaked? How did it get posted? Like, that is something that you keep deep in your little group chats, in your files on your phone. Posing with the Nazi as a K-pop idol. Dumb. Bye.